Welcome back to another depressing episode of the Creamsicle Chronicle podcast. My name is JT Olson, who is bringing the positivity on this show. With me is Garrett Ballard. Garrett, how are you? Are you recovering? This has been a rough week for all of us.
This has been a rough week. Oh man, it's upsetting, man. I remember I was like, I got off that pod last time, and I was just like, man, I'm mad now. I was like, I'm frustrated. Like that got me heated, and then I was like, new game this Sunday, clean slate. Let's see what happens, and then it's the same, worse even.
It was worse.
It was worse, and I'm just mad all over again. And now we're playing a Baltimore team who is really good. Like I'm not confident, man. I'm not confident. One positive. I will be at the game. I got credentialed, approved again, 2 straight home games in a row. Very excited for that one. Prime time should be an awesome time. So that's a positive. But I will be able to watch our offensive downfall in person this time.
See, you're expecting to watch the Bucs play football. What I'm picturing is the Bucs marching Byron Leftwich through the town square naked with a bell, ringing it and yelling, "Shame, shame."
Yes.
That's how I see this week.
That's pretty much what's happening right now. I mean, I don't think there's a single person that's not true. There's probably a person, but I don't think any competent Bucs fan is sitting there saying, "Oh no, Leftwich is fine. That guy's not the problem. He's a train wreck." I mean, there's no two ways about it. I mean, I think every single Bucs fan on Twitter has seen the clip going around of J.C. Allen reading some stats saying that they are last in the league in rushing EPA, which is expected points added from runs. They are last in the league, and Byron Leftwich just laughs at them, which is embarrassing. Like that's so bad. I don't think there's a worse way he could have gone about answering that question because you can snark at analytics all you want. They are factual. That's a system of a lot of smart tools. I don't know the details of it, but they have a lot of data at hand, and they can put together a statistic that tells you what's going to be the most successful thing to do. And right now, at running the ball, the Buccaneers are the worst in the league.
And just to laugh at it like he did, it's demeaning. It's belittling, and
it is.
It's like, I'm so much above you. How dare you come at me with this question? This isn't even worth my time. And J.C. Allen is a smart dude. Shout out to J.C. Allen, quality content creator. Even if you don't put any stock into those kind of things, if you're a coach, you can answer that question. You can say things like, well, we have this process. We don't really worry about the outcome because we believe our process is good. There are a billion coach ways to answer that question where you don't come off as an ass, frankly.
Yeah, absolutely.
And right now, that's what Byron Leftwich looks like. He looks incompetent. He looks like he's in over his head. And he looks like he's going down as a pompous jerk right now.
Yeah, I mean, this was a guy who was expected to be a head coach at this point of the year. Like, everyone was thinking he got the Jags job. And if you are a head coach and you're laughing at a very viable part of the game, which is analytics and of growing importance, that gives me zero confidence in your ability to interpret data, interpret what's happening on the field, and make changes on it. Like, that's pretty much saying, I'm stubborn, I'm not going to change. Anything that disagrees with me is wrong, which is just not true, because in this case, the stat is backed up by what we're seeing on the field. You don't need a statistic to tell you that the Buccaneers are the worst rushing team in the NFL. You can watch it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like he's going, oh, no, it's just a stupid analytical statistic. It's not like that on the field, because it is like that on the field. And there's no excuse for it. It is demeaning, like you said, is belittling to people who are putting in hard work to figure these things out. It is belittling to the Buccaneers fan base who expects a lot from this offense. And it is a really sorry sight to see.
And fans are right to expect a lot from this offense because this is a talented offense.
Mm.
And we know the situation with Robert Hainsey. He's a backup player, and he plays like a backup player. We know the situation with Luke Gadecki. He should be having a redshirt year, and he's forced into action. We knew those guys weren't going to be great from the get-go. Beyond that, everything else is really good. Really, really good. Mike Evans, future Hall of Fame. Tom Brady, the greatest to ever do it. Leonard Fournette has a versatile skill set. He's 235 pounds and he can catch the football. And he's not great, but you can use him in any situation. Chris Godwin could be an all-pro. Russell Gage is a third option. I mean, there is talent.
Russell Gage without injuries. Russell Gage with injuries has been a letdown. But
for the contract he got, definitely. But that's why we got him, to be a cushion for injury. And he's injured. That's okay because we got Julio, and he's injured, and that's okay because we still have Scotty Miller and Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, and that's enough. That's more than enough to put up points.
Yeah. So real quick before we get further into this, a buddy of mine, Luke Miranda, shout out Luke, asked a question last week. If it is in Twitter, I see right here that StreamYard cannot access Twitter comments, so we didn't see it. It didn't come through. He had a question that I wanted to answer. I've talked to him about it, but I still want to answer it live. He asked, "Is Blaine Gabbert the answer?" And the answer is no. Tom Brady's not the issue. We don't need Blaine Gabbert. He followed it up by telling me to say we got to at least give RG4 a chance. Ryan Griffin, which you know what? He's been a staple in this quarterback room. Put him in there.
He's still in the practice squad, right?
Probably. I mean, Trask is the third right now, but all jokes aside, Tom Brady's he's definitely the answer. He's not the problem. But yeah, that's that. So sorry for missing your question last week, Luke. Hope that answered it.
Yeah, please bring us all the questions. We want questions. We want interaction. This doesn't have to be just me and Ballard talking. We want as much engagement as we get.
For sure. I mean, any topic you want to talk about, if people are here, I'm trying to have on the creamsicle. I'm trying to. Oh my gosh, I unmuted Sorry, that was weird. I heard myself and I didn't like it. But I try to have the chat open on Twitter so I can see if I miss anything, because again, we can't see it on here. So that's tough, but okay, let's dive back into the game last week. There are a couple images I want to pull up to back up what I'm saying. Specifically, there's the EPA thing and then the just another one I want to do. This EPA is before the Carolina game, which probably lowered it. Where's share screen? Present. Share screen. Chrome tab. Twitter. Okay. So if you can, JT, is that there? You can see it all. It's all good. All right, we're looking good. We can see it. Okay. So what I'm looking at here, I want pretty much everyone, if you're watching live, to focus on these two middle columns right here, the early rush EPA and the early pass EPA. So what we're looking at is expected points added when we are rushing on early downs versus passing on early downs. So rushing on early downs, I think this is from the Pittsburgh game, to be honest. I think this is I don't know what this is from. But as you can see, negative 0.28 points added from expected points added from rushing on early downs, which we do, as we know, a lot. And then if we are throwing on early downs, 0.28, virtually the opposite. It is vastly better, and there is no reason why we should be rushing as much as we are on early downs. Now, the next one, let me pull up, is from a graphic. It's kind of blurry, so I hope it's okay on the broadcast, but it's from Get Up on ESPN. Some of you might have seen this. Chrome tab. This was after the Carolina game. This was a couple days ago. So can we see that? Is that all good?
Got it.
Yep, we're good. On third and longs, the Buccaneers are 4 for 43, which is last in the NFL. 9% conversion rate. And then I'm going to sit on this in a little bit. Over here in the red zone. Oh, wait. Opponent. Okay. We don't need to worry about that right now. I'm just focusing on this side, the left side with the offensive struggles. You see that third and longs are classified as 3rd and 7 plus. which is common knowledge, the Buccaneers convert 9% and are last in the NFL. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing the screen. Now I'm going to rant. When the Buccaneers are running on first down as frequently as they are and as poorly as they are, you are going to be setting yourself up for third and longs. Because on second down, you can expect a pass. Just keep everything in front of you. And then you have yourself a third and long if that pass isn't completed, which it hasn't been a lot. As you can see, we have 43 third and longs, and we've converted 4 of them. Running on first down is failing this team drastically. Byron Leftwich has done nothing to adjust. As I have said, I need to see it to believe it, and I don't think it's going to happen this week either. They are completely ignoring some of the best playmakers in the game in Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, as you said. And they are taking out a very dynamic part of their offense in favor of Leonard Fournette, who I think has been pretty disappointing this season in terms of he needs to run. He can't tiptoe behind the line. He's not Rachaad White. Rachaad White's good at that. I've seen it. Patience is good. Leonard Fournette kind of follows his blocks and then chooses the wrong hole to go behind, or doesn't even choose a hole to go behind. He just kind of runs laterally, which is not good. When you're having offensive line struggles, if there's a hole, you need to take it. You need to put your head down, and when you're, like JT said, 235 pounds, you need to take what you can find and just get the yard. We know he can run tough. He does it when he gets in the open field, but the thing is he gets in the open field too few times for me to be like, oh, yeah, he's fine. He can do it. I need to see him force holes open by himself. He needs to put his head down, run through the tackles, and burst up like he does in the open field on a safety. He just needs to do it on a linebacker. Tougher, but he needs to do it. We've seen him do it. He needs to do it more. When you give that guy the ball on first down, and very few of them go for more than 3 yards, you are basically giving up the drive. That's the point we're at.
I want to agree with 99% of what you just said.
What's the 1%?
The 1% is I want to, and this is the nicest thing I'll probably ever say about Byron Leftwich. I thought he was a little bit better in terms of play selection this week. We saw a handoff to a wide receiver. That's something different. It's not Leonard Fournette up the middle again. We saw Rachaad White run it out of shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
These are teeny tiny baby steps. And really, I think they only ran the ball like 15, 16 times. So it wasn't as bad as it has been in other games. It was bad, don't get me wrong. It was not good. Leftwich is a disaster. But it was like this tiny little crack in the iceberg that made me think, hey, maybe something's happening. And then the rest of the game played out and we scored 3 points. It's like, no, even when you do something a little bit right, the play calling is still so predictable and maddening. Just the selection. When you do it, it's there's nothing that can save it.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I think in order for me to be like, oh yeah, that's a good creative play call, it needs to be not a run. All his creative play calls are runs. Like, even if it's a jet sweep and we saw the jet sweep to Darden got no yards. He might have been dropped for a loss again, like a loss. Like that's not good. I mean, the Rachaad White Wildcat thing, I can't remember how many yards he got, but I liked the play call. I thought that was good. But again, do something in the passing game. Like, innovate your passing game. You need to. Because if you're going to rely on your run game in the current NFL, you're going to get eaten alive. Like, you cannot do that. And it doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know why they would keep doing it, especially. And it's just frustrating because we know how, like, first drive, that Mike Evans bomb, I was like, heck yes, take shots down the field. They didn't do it again. Why? Why not? We know their DBs are hurt and are not good, not very good to begin with. Take shots. There's no reason to not do so. I don't get it.
I in no way wanted to insinuate that this was creativity from Leftwich. These
these
are basic things that most middle schools do.
No, you're right.
And that's really just how bad Leftwich has been.
And I think
this is a step forward.
I think the issue is that is creativity for him. Like, I know you're not trying to say that, but I think that is what he deems creative.
By his standard, yes, this was groundbreaking. This was the most impressive 3-point performance an offense will ever put up, if Byron Leftwich standards is the bar.
Yeah, I think, you're definitely – I know what you're trying to say. My bad if I made it seem like another way. But
no, but you're right. For him, this is huge progress and creativity. It's just for everyone else in the NFL and for college and high school and middle school, this is textbook basic stuff.
Like, when did the Wildcat take over in college? Like 2012?
Gosh, I feel like it's always been there.
But like when it was like really like the wave.
I think it was. I know in the NFL, I think it was 2008. That was like.
Yeah.
Ronnie. Okay. What was that for the Dolphins? Was it Ronnie Brown? Was it? He was that same running back that came out with Cadillac Williams.
I know Cadillac Williams. I think
they were teammates at Auburn. I think it was Ronnie Brown. Ricky Williams.
I can't remember, but again, 2008. That's if your innovative offense is one of the plays is from 2008. That's sad. Like, that's just not good. That means you're not a creative play caller and you can't adapt to modern things.
And can I even take it a little bit farther, not to nerd out too much about it?
Sure.
Just the way the Bucs line up, something so basic as lining up, it's so telegraphed. I broke down a play on, I think it was the Bucs' first or second drive, and the Bucs had like 6 guys on the right side and then 4 guys on the left.
Yes.
And there had 7 defenders on the right side. It was like hat on a hat on the left. Just go left and it's 1-on-1 and you're wide open. And they run right into the defense.
Yeah,
they see it coming. They line up accordingly and they stop it.
That brings me to another point that I wanted to talk about this week, and that is people who are saying, why doesn't Brady just audible out of it? He can only do so much with certain personnel. Like, I think a lot of these plays that we're complaining about are the ones where you see bunch sets of 3 tight ends on one side of the offensive line. And you're like, well, this is a run. Anyone on the planet could tell you that's a run. And if you're like, oh yeah, Brady, audible out of that. What is he going to do? He's going to be like, yeah, let's send these 3 tight ends on a go route.
Kokeeft, baby. Send them deep every play.
Like, the Bucs passing concepts are not complementary to the tight ends we have right now. I think Cade Otton's probably the one it fits the most. But you can only do so much with the personnel you're given. And if you're trotting out there Kokeeft, Cameron Brate, and Cade Otton, and then Leonard Fournette with no like actual receivers, maybe one, you're gonna fail because everyone's gonna be like, okay, they're running to this side. So.
And it goes back to the conversation last week we had about Luke Goedeke.
Yeah.
Leftwich has to protect his rookies.
Yeah.
When you're lining up a rookie 1-on-1 20 times a game versus an all-pro defensive tackle, that's bad coaching. When you're putting your 2 rookies as your lead blockers, a dozen times a game, and it's obvious that it's a run play, it's heavy like that, that's bad coaching. That's just, they're rookies, they're inexperienced, and they're not to the level of play that they will be in a few years. They're not who you want to be the foundation of any play.
Definitely. And this kind of brings us to our next topic, segues us perfectly, is the Leverett Goedeke situation, I think. Obviously, last week, Leverett and Goedeke kind of were shuffling in and out, which I think is a horrible way to help Goedeke. I think that's a terrible, terrible idea. You're like, yeah, okay, Luke, we trust you, but we're going to put Nick in for this drive. Okay, Nick, we trust you. You're coming back out. What? Like, what are you doing? Like, pick one. And I know that the Goedeke injury sort of forced their hand to put in Leverett this week, but they were going to do the same thing. Like, Todd Bowles had already said that they were going to do the same thing. And JT and I kind of talked about this a little bit before, but in the end, for where the Bucs are right now, I think that playing Leverett is the right call. Just because, while I don't think he's the greatest guard by any means. It's going to be hard, I think, at this point to be worse than Gadecki was, statistically at least, giving up pressures and that sort of thing. But also because he's probably going to be a bit more consistent. He might still get beat every now and then, but I feel like the gaps of time in between him getting beat are going to be longer than what Gadecki was. But we'll see. I could be totally wrong. We'll see tomorrow or tonight whenever you're listening to this. Yeah, I think Leverett was the right play. I hate the rotation.
Well, let's get the stuff we agree with out of the way before I disagree with you.
Yeah.
Luke Gadecki has not been good enough this year. He's been a problem. We both agree on that.
Yes.
Rotating guards is bad for everyone. Pick a guy, go with him.
Mm-hmm.
We should bring in someone outside because whether it's Gadecki or Leverett, I think we both have advocated for guys like Eric Flowers in this year, and he's a better option than either of these guys we're going to talk about. Do we agree on all three of those things?
Yes.
Yeah. I think when we talk about Ledecky versus Leverett, this is the best of what we have. None of us are happy with these in-house options or the situation that we're currently in as a team, but this is what we have. So this is what we have to talk about. Now, I don't think Nick Leverett's any good. Everything in his career has told me that he's not a good player. He's at best a backup/practice squad guy. When he's come into the game, anytime before this past Sunday, where I thought he showed himself pretty well this past Sunday.
And I think Gadecki was good this Sunday.
Yeah, and I think that's what happens when you're not going against guys like Chris Jones or Cam Hayward. This was Derek Brown, who's a good nose tackle, but he's not a great football player.
Right.
With a guy like Nick Leverett, he has been a practice squad guy. He was undrafted, and when he's been on the field, he's been atrocious. Not just bad, awful. Much worse than what we've seen from Luke Gadecki, who has been bad. And yes, Nick Leverett, he is a young player just like Gadecki, but he's in year 3. We kind of know what he is at this point. He's a backup player, limited upside. Gadecki has more upside. And I think the two are comparable right now because we saw them against the same opponent last week, and I thought really they were about the same. I think they're a little bit different skill set. I think Leverett's more a point of attack kind of guy, get some power, get some push. Leverett's more get into space, get to the linebacker. But in terms of their skill, their ability level, I think they're pretty comparable right now. So is Leverett the best option today? Maybe. I don't feel strongly one way or another about that. Maybe Gadecki is. He's struggled, but I have every reason to believe that Nick Leverett will struggle with an expanded sample size. For me, it's about which guy will be better come playoff time, because that's still the ultimate goal. We're struggling now, not because of left guard is a part of the problem, but swapping out left guards isn't going to fix it. I want the best option come playoff team because despite the struggles, the expectation has not gone down for me. This is still Super Bowl or bust. So for me, it's all about who's going to be the best option come playoff time. I think it'll be Luke Gadecki with more reps, even with the growing pains.
No, yeah, you could be right. But again, I think while this is Super Bowl or bust for this year, you have to think about now because the way this team is playing, this is a bottom 10 unit in the league. The defense is bad, banged up also, and the offense is bottom 5.
Awful. It's terrible.
It's so painful. Bad. It's at this point, I'm like, is this the only way this is going to fix is if you fire Leftwich?
Yes, I think that is really the only fix.
It has
I don't care who plays left guard.
No, me neither. If you put any competent offensive coordinator with this team, and you're like, okay, this is the unit I have, we're gonna score points. How are you not able to score? Okay, the running is bad. Cool, pass it. You have Mike Evans. You have Chris Godwin. Cool. Get the ball out quick. Don't run your deep dagger concepts. Run slants. Run quick hit stuff. Get the ball into your playmakers' hands and let them run. Take what the defense gives you. You don't have to I feel like the majority it's so frustrating because I feel like when I'm watching the Bucs pass, for like, I don't know an exact number, but a large majority of their passes are within 10 yards, right? Which is fine. But also, you have elite downfield weapons. Use them that way. I mean, we saw Mike Evans. Obviously, that was a really uncharacteristic drop. I was like, okay. I was like, we're going to lose this game. I was like, this is just going to happen. Like, if Mike Evans drops that ball, this is going to be a bad afternoon. You can feel it, like, when that happens, because that's not a thing that ever happens. But this again comes down to like the third and longs. I've seen them time and time again throw to receivers who are not even close to the line to gain. Like, they're 3 yards in front of it. Like, that would get them to a 4th and 4. Great, cool. You're not going to go for it on 4th because you never do. It's baffling. It's totally baffling, all of it.
And I think we were all on board with the overall concept at the beginning of the year. It's going to be more short stuff with Tom Brady into that 45. We're going to do a little bit more running, kind of conserve him a little more. Still have the deep shots. We don't want those to go away because those are your big plays.
Yeah.
I think from an overall standpoint, that was okay. It's been the execution, the running on 2nd and 10 for 1 down in a power formation where everyone can see it coming.
Yep.
Not getting your playmakers involved. Even Rachaad White, run him out of the shotgun, give him that wide receiver, that screen pass, those quick hitters to Godwin, to Evans. That comeback is money all day. No one stops that.
All day.
And those are those short passes, but that makes it 2nd and 2 as opposed to 2nd and 8. And that's a huge difference.
Exactly. And they don't do enough of it. They opt for the run, which is wrong, in my opinion, just flat out wrong.
And then it feels like it's the hardest possible plays you could do. It's like, we're going to put Godwin here in triple coverage, and he's going to be your best option. You have to go to him.
Mm-hmm.
It's just no one's being schemed open.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I feel like they're being schemed closer together. I feel like every other play, it's like Godwin and Evans could reach out and high five.
The spacing is terrible. I agree. I've seen some clips on Twitter. It's like they're 4 yards from each other.
Yeah. And who's also going to be 4 yards from them? 2-3 DBs.
Yep.
Because that's your best 2 players.
It's a mess. It's truly a mess. I can't talk about it much more, else I'm just going to get like really angry. But do you want to talk about the defense?
Because it's better than the offense, but we can only say so much about the offense.
I'm very concerned about the defense right now. Like 2 weeks ago, I was like, I'm concerned about the offense. I'm not at the tipping point yet. Now I'm at the tipping point. But the defense, I'm concerned about. Not because I don't think they're utilizing their players well, because I think guys like Antoine Winfield are just superstars, but he's hurt. So is Carlton Davis.
Mm-hmm.
Who else is hurt? Logan Ryan.
Yep.
Sean Murphy-Bunting.
Mm-hmm. Akeem Hicks still
Akeem
out.
Hicks. Yep.
Well, questionable officially, but
I
wouldn't expect him to play on a short week.
No. So that means we are going to have Zion McCollum in his 2nd career game, 3rd if you count special teams against the Falcons, and his 1 drive of defense, but 2nd career full game. You have D. Delaney, who's actually, I think,
He's been okay in the nickel.
He's been fine. Yeah.
Considering he's like your 4th string nickel, I've been very happy with what he's getting.
I have too. He's been solid. Mike Edwards is fine. Logan Hall, Keanu Neal. Yep, Keanu Neal's good. I think he's been fine. I haven't seen him do a ton, but I also haven't seen him blow up a play, which is, get beat really bad, but so it's fine.
He's just a very different skill set than guys like Logan Hall and Antoine Winfield. He's more of a box enforcer, kind of like a Jordan Whitehead was. I don't think he's as physical or as stiff.
I agree.
But that's kind of his role. He's a hitter.
Yeah. Okay. And then down to Akeem Hicks, we have Logan Hall, who I think's been fine this year, but the defensive line as a whole needs to do something. They are just getting handled. I don't know. I've been really hopeful for Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. He's been flashing, but it's still not consistent as I was imagining. Shaq Barrett, again, not as good as we would have hoped. You have Logan Hall, who I think is probably on schedule for what we imagined. Like no one expected him to like take over this year. I think he's been fine. And then Vita Vea has been oddly disappointing this year. I've seen him getting washed out a lot in the run game, which is concerning to me because like it's Vita Vea. That never happens. It should not happen. That guy's like the best nose tackle in the league. It's just the whole unit is like, and their discipline has been bad. Like they haven't been lining up correct. They haven't been lining up in time. People are getting caught on the field. Like it's just a weird. I don't know what's going on. Like this coaching staff, I had faith in, and that faith is slowly being rescinded. I know you wrote an article. Is it published? The Todd Bowles?
Yep, that's out there.
Yeah, JT wrote a great article saying titled "Todd Bowles is ruining his second chance." I think we talked a little bit about that last week on the pod, but y'all should definitely go check that article out on Bucs Report. It's really well written, and he does a good job explaining it. But you're definitely right. Yeah, you're definitely right. This is a Todd Bowles. I don't want to get too much into it because I don't want to like spoil your article. But Todd Bowles was given a silver platter with this team on it. Like you really can't mess this up, and he did somehow. So at least up until this point.
I think the most concerning part about all of it is Vita Vea. Because I can't identify why.
Yeah.
Like we see him getting beat at the point of attack, but he should never be beat like that. Ever. He's too strong.
Yeah.
He's and we've seen him, pounds.
We've still seen him do Vita Vea things. Like every now and then you're like, okay, there's Vita Vea. Like where the heck were you? I don't know why there's the lapses. That's like concerning to me. I don't get it.
That tells me that it's a effort issue. It's a motor issue, or it's some kind of hidden health thing that we don't know about. But he's never on the injury report, so I have no reason to believe that.
Yeah.
The effort isn't there. And again, that goes back to leadership. We talked about this defense lacking that vocal leader, that accountability. Vita Vea needs that kick in his butt because he should be dominating. And frankly, it should be Shaq Barrett be the one to do it. But Shaq Barrett only has, 2 sacks on the year?
Yeah.
And we have played 2 of the worst offensive lines in the league these past
2 weeks. If not
the
worst.
Pittsburgh is awful. Carolina is slightly better. Do you know how many sacks we have in the last 2 weeks combined?
It was like 2. Right?
Yeah, 3 sacks, 1 on each quarterback.
Yeah.
That is terrible. I mean, Todd Bowles is a defensive genius. He is one of the smartest defensive coaches you will ever see. Not necessarily translating to a head coach, but defensively, this team should be on it. Where is the pressure? Where are the sacks? These are bad quarterbacks, too. Not Tom Brady, who gets the ball out in 2 seconds. These are P.J. Walker, Kenny Pickett, a rookie, Mitch Trubisky, who is essentially washing out of the league. There is no reason this front seven, who is probably the best front seven on paper in the league, there's no reason they shouldn't be dominating. And they've been good overall because they're only allowing 16 points a game. They're like 5th, 6th in the league. That's good. But for who they're playing and the talent they have, they should be dominating, and they're not.
And just a little bit of a spoiler alert. If you expect that to get better tomorrow on Thursday, don't. It's Lamar Jackson. So if you weren't able to bring down Kenny Pickett, PJ, it's going to be really bad this week. He might rush for 200, no joke, but and then throw for another 2. But it's truly just none of it. It's hard to comprehend for me because we've seen what this team can do, and there was minimal turnover aside from a couple positions, namely offensive line and then tight end, really. But the defense largely stayed the same. So the fact that they are just seeming like it's a new coach, like a new system, like they're not fully prepared is just confusing to me. I don't really get it. Devin White is still flying a million miles an hour and missing tackles. I think Levante David is quietly doing his thing. He's not making the huge flashy plays, but he has probably been the best Him and Antoine Winfield are probably the best defensive players right now for us.
And that's just Levante David's career in a nutshell.
Yeah, like just
quietly kicking ass.
Yeah, quiet domination. The guy's a beast. Antoine Winfield, I've said it last week. I know he's concussed right now, but take whatever money you were going to give to Devin White and give it to him because he's the real superstar of this defense right now. So, yeah, it's hard for me to wrap my head around why it's failing right now.
And part of me, I think it's more leadership because first half of both these games, defense have been good. And I think they've just kind of, I don't know if they're gassed or they're just mentally like burnt, but I felt like the whole team folded. They absolutely folded at the end of this game. That's a mental thing. Or just they're on the field so often because the offense can't do anything. They're just tired.
It might be both. It might be them tired, and then they're like, man, I am doing everything I can, and this offense is giving me nothing. I'm like, I can only do this for so long. Like, that's got to be hard. You're like, I'm like, I talked about it last week. Warren Sapp, give me 17. The defense has done that. Mm-hmm. And with this offense, you should be blowing them out of the water with that. Like, it's crazy, man. Like, it's got to be hard. You're like, I'm stopping them, and I'm getting punts, and they're at a point less than 20 points. We should beat them. But we score 3. So.
Yeah. And we talked about it last week. No JPP, no Ndamukong Suh. Those are you who grab you by the neck and force you to get back into this. It's like, we will not let this pass. We are going to win this game by a field goal, 3-6. I don't care. You know, that guy you turn to, and he's going to make you fight harder. They turn to Devin White, and Devin White's bored. Mm-hmm. And he said as such. He's bored of dominating. And so he stops dominating. You can't. When the offense is playing like it is, you can't because you're the only thing that the team has.
Truly. And it's just every week I find myself saying, we need a turnover, and we don't get a turnover. Like, how many takeaways do we have this year? Like 2?
I don't think we've had one since Atlanta. I think Logan Ryan was the last guy to force a turnover on this team.
Okay. I don't know when it was. We don't have many.
3 weeks ago. I don't think we've had one either of the last 2 weeks.
We don't have many. That's pretty much what I'm getting at. We're probably near the bottom of the league if I had to guess. But I don't know how Jason Light, if this continues, is going to navigate this. Like if this just keeps going on, are you like clean house? I am.
Not entirely. I don't think even in the worst case scenario, this is a total rebuild because they have so many good pieces. Jack Barrett, we've seen him be great. Vita Vea, we've seen him be great. Carlton Davis is arguably a top 10 corner.
Right.
Antoine Winfield, Ryan Jensen, Tristan Wirfs, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. Those guys are all here long term.
I don't think it's a complete rebuild, but do you get a different coaching staff?
You have to think about it.
I do.
It's only getting harder from here.
I mean, we've seen it. Like this stretch of games, the Atlanta, Pittsburgh, Carolina is like the easiest stretch of games for the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Like we go 3-0 here, and we should be fine. But they went 1-2.
And those would be the easiest games for any team season.
Yeah.
You look at the Detroit Lions and say, okay, these are games you expect to win. That's how bad Pittsburgh and Carolina are.
Yep.
You can't drop those. There's no world where any team can afford to drop those.
It's bad. But I think if this continues, I think you have to depart with everyone coaching staff wise. Obviously, Tom Brady's gone, or at least most likely. I would be shocked if he's not. You still have all those other pieces, like you said. Find your coach, draft Hendon Hooker, and go from there. That's my dream right now. I'm not going to get into draft talk, but Hendon Hooker.
There will be plenty of time for that around Thanksgiving when water is fully up to our ankles on this ship.
Yeah, Thanksgiving. That's Sunday. What is it? The 20th?
4th,
27th. It's my birthday. Because I know that we're playing the Browns in Cleveland. That'll be the I think. I mean, unless we just lose out until then, which would be dreadful. But
at this point, we can't rule it out because they're losing to the worst teams in the league.
What is it? It's like 4 weeks until then. It's week 7.
It's week 7 this week. Yeah,
we play
last week.
Yeah,
so we have Ravens this week in week 8, then Rams in week 9, Seahawks in week 10, by
Cleveland.
That's
brutal. That's brutal.
There's no reason to think we're not going to lose all of those games if things continue the way they are.
Like, that's a brutal stretch of games. Like, are you kidding me? You got the Rams. Lamar Jackson is a freak. You got, who are we playing next week? You just told me. I forgot.
Rams.
The Rams are next week?
Yeah. Ravens, then Rams, then Seahawks.
Oh, my. The Rams, we never win against. The Seahawks, Geno Smith is apparently God.
Let Geno cook. I have always said this.
Like, why is he so good?
Can I just throw this theory out there?
That's in Germany also. But
Pete Carroll has been a genius this whole time. Everyone has ripped him because he runs the ball too much. And everyone said, let Russ cook. He's a great quarterback, Hall of Famer. And Pete Carroll always says, no, we're going to run.
Dude, Russell Wilson's a clown.
And now Russell Wilson stinks, and Geno Smith is the best quarterback in the league, and Pete Carroll was right all along.
Did you see the report about Russell Wilson, what he was doing on the 8-hour plane ride to London?
Oh, tell me.
In Denver. Apparently, while his teammates are sleeping, he's in the aisle of the plane working out.
Yep. That feels right. I'm sure he had it on camera.
Be normal. Like, please. Like, what? So I saw something on Twitter that made me laugh. It was a joke. It was like, okay, get in the car. Everyone get in the car. We're going to go force Russell Wilson, or we're going to go make Russell Wilson smoke weed against his will. And I was like, bro, that's so funny. But it's like, it's so funny. It's like, there's Russell Wilson, just like the super clean cut, almost to a cringy point guy. And then you have Aaron Rodgers, perennial MVP candidate. It's like, yeah, I did ayahuasca before a game once. What?
Like, look at Aaron Rodgers. He's high in half the games he plays.
He is. You're right. Oh my gosh.
And honestly, I would love Russ for his corniness if I felt like he was authentic.
Yeah. If it was like genuine, but I don't think it is.
No one's working out on the plane after a game, dude. I mean,
no one is doing that. Like, he's doing the most in the worst way possible. Like, no one's doing that. Like, he
practices high-fiving the air.
And I think in Seattle it was believable because he wasn't overboard. Like, he was like, yeah, I'm just helping out. Like, he's doing charity work, which is like, cool. Yeah, great stuff. But in, like, Denver, I don't know what happened to him. He's just like, Broncos country, let's ride at every moment, and everyone hates him. But
well, he was winning in Seattle, and
yeah,
now he's just dangerous.
Sorry, we had to get a bit off Bucs football. We had to save ourselves from
something that'll bring me joy.
Self-loathing. Yeah, gosh, it's so bad. But
let's talk a little bit about this Ravens game, so we can put ourselves out of our misery.
Yeah,
this is going to be a shellacking.
This is going to be
a whooping.
It's going to be bad. Yeah, I'm going to pull up the Ravens past games. You keep talking for a little bit.
Well, let's just look at their two biggest stars. Lamar Jackson. You know who would be the perfect guy to stop him? A disciplined Devin White. You know who doesn't exist? A disciplined Devin White.
Yep.
Because Devin White is big, strong, fast enough to keep up with Lamar Jackson. He can keep him from burning you until he takes 2 false steps in trying to get a sack or something. And then Lamar's gone. You know who their other star is? Is Mark Andrews. You know who would be great to cover him? Logan Ryan or Antoine Winfield or even Sean Murphy Bunting.
See, what's going to happen is they're going to put Levante David, pretty much just lock him on Andrews because you can't put Devin White on him. And then they're going to be like, okay, Devin, you need to play linebacker, and he's not going to be able to.
It's going to be ugly. Prep your fantasy teams accordingly. Lamar Jackson
gonna
Mark
go
Andrews.
off.
Multiple touchdowns for both.
I mean, I hope Levante can kind of lock him up. I mean, that'd be nice. But yeah, it's gonna be bad.
It's hard to expect Levante, even if he plays good coverage. Mark Andrews is the top 5 tight end of the league.
No, you're right. You're right. And Lamar's the top 5 quarterback in the league. Yeah.
So when Devin White eventually gets out of position, because we know he will, Levante David's going to have to try and step up and make a play and cover for him. And that's going to make him come off Andrews. And that's how Lamar does his damage. You go up to try and stop him. He pops it over the middle to Andrews, who runs for 50 yards.
And then if Levante's like, okay, I'll cover Andrews this time, Lamar's just going to run for 50 yards.
Yep. It's the ultimate double-edged sword, because he's not like a Denard Robinson, who is just a great runner.
Yep.
Or, whatever running quarterback you want to look at. Lamar Jackson is a very good thrower of the football. He will find the open man, and he will hurt you.
I mean, this is an MVP we're talking about. Like, this guy won MVP, what was it, 2 years ago, 3 years ago?
2019, when he led the league in touchdown passes. Forget the running for a second. He led the league in touchdown passes, which, we saw that last year with Tom Brady. Mm-hmm. This is Tom Brady touchdown passes with Michael Vick running.
If you think that a banged up, struggling defense is going to be able to contain that, there you're wrong. I'd be stunned if we are able to keep them below 25 points.
Yeah, I do not think we will.
Yeah.
Can I be Mr. Positive for a second?
Please, I need it.
I think we're going to score more points this week.
Okay.
I think you look at this Ravens.
That's not a hard thing to do. We scored 3.
Hey, I would say there's nowhere to go but up, but we both know that's not true.
You're right. Do you remember when I said after the Pittsburgh game, you were like, this can't get any worse.
Oh, baby.
Let me
tell you, it got worse.
It got worse. So.
But really, though, and you look at this Ravens front seven, it is a really interesting blend of young guys who haven't really accomplished anything yet and fading veterans.
Who is it? It's like JPP.
Justin Houston. Calais Campbell, who's out this game, but he's like 36.
He's old. It's like Justin Madubuike starting.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, okay.
And my guy, Travis Jones.
Oh, yeah.
Starting nose tackle, which he was a nose in college, but I wouldn't want him as like the base of a 3-4 kind of nose tackle, like a Vita Vea. But again, a rookie, a guy you would expect your young guys, Hainsey and Leverett, to be able to go toe-to-toe with. So the linebackers on this team aren't anything to write home about. The defensive line isn't anything to write home about. I mean, I feel like I've been saying this the last 2 weeks. This is where you make your stand, offense.
So
this is where you do it.
My question about this, in terms of defenses from Pittsburgh, Carolina, Ravens, how do you rank them? Best to worst?
Oh, man, that's a question. Talent or in overall?
Just how you think they are. So overall.
I'd probably put Carolina last.
Yep, that's fine.
Gosh, with the injuries, Pittsburgh.
How the Bucs played them. That's important.
Pittsburgh is so much better coached than Carolina, and Carolina is more talented than what this dead Pittsburgh roster was. I would say Baltimore, the version we saw of all these teams, Baltimore's the best defense.
I agree. I would hope they score more points than 3, but
they should, because on paper it's the least talented. And yes, coaching matters. We know that, and the Ravens are always very well coached. But I mean, come on.
If they're the best of the 3.
I know it. And, that Pittsburgh team was essentially dead. They had, mannequins and Halloween costumes on the field, and we put up 18.
And exactly. Like, that was a full backup defense besides Cam Hayward, basically.
And then we had the Panthers last week, Steve Wilkes?
Yep.
I really like what he's doing in this management position, trading away, disgruntled players and firing coaches he thinks are bad. But he washed out so quickly in Arizona. He did not do a good job. Very much like what we're seeing now. Only worse.
And he dominated this offense.
Yes.
Given
absolutely.
A lot of it was probably self-inflicted from the Bucs' part.
Absolutely. But you know what? We can expect that this week too, because nothing has changed.
I don't think we're scoring a lot of points. I'm nervous.
We should score, but like you said,
we should. You're right. Do I think that's going to happen? No. I have no faith.
We'll believe it when we see it. It should happen. Offense, this is your time. But it's the same as the last 2 weeks. Show me it will happen, and that's when I'll believe it.
Yep.
All right. We want to jump into hot takes?
Or hot takes or bold predictions? Do you mean bold predictions?
Bold predictions.
Yeah.
Tomato.
Gosh, I don't have any. Okay, you go first.
All right. Hot take. And again, I'm being Mr. Positive today. Mm-hmm. Tampa Bay Buccaneers will score more points in this game than the last 2 weeks combined.
So you think they score more than 21?
I do. Which, again, low bar. Some of those might be garbage time points. I think it's going to happen. Sign me up for 23 big ones.
Okay, I will be the antithesis. I don't think this is going to be good at all. I think the Ravens are going to put up 30 plus.
I don't know if there's anything hot about that take. That's just this team marching up to the guillotine.
I'm dead inside.
I know it.
This is bad.
Let me again come in as Mr. Positive to save you. This will be Byron Leftwich's last game calling plays.
Oh my God, that would be a dream.
This is it, because it's gonna be ugly.
I wasn't gonna
be a good game for us.
Yeah. I wasn't gonna say that as my bold prediction, but I was gonna say something along the lines of like, if we suck, he's gotta go. Like, just as a free take. I hope so.
This is a really natural time to do it because you get the mini bye coming off Thursday night.
Yep.
And then you have your own bye in a couple of weeks. So you could install a new coordinator, a new play caller, get a couple weeks to feel it out, do some self-scouting evaluation, and then you take the back end of the schedule and you just run with it.
Okay, I have a hot take that's going to bounce off that one. So this is like a combo take. Byron Leftwich gets fired if this is a bad game. Bruce Arians takes his place.
Oh, do not tease me with a good time. We need Bruce Arians. And I don't think it'll ever happen. But
this is a Lincoln Riley. This is a Lincoln Riley leaving Oklahoma, and Bob Stoops comes back for one last ride to finish out the season. It's not going to happen, but that's my bold take.
No, I don't. I think that'll never happen because I think Bruce respects Todd Bowles to not come in and kind of undermine him as the old head coach and the new head coach. But Byron Leftwich is his protege, and I don't think he's going to have any part in replacing him.
No, I think you're right. I think you're right, but I just wanted to say something fun.
Speak it into existence. Make it true.
All right. Last one for you.
Last one. Rachaad White gets more touches than Leonard Fournette because he deserves them.
I agree. Absolutely, he does. It should have been. It's been in the pipe for like 3 weeks now. Since the Chiefs game, really. My last take, Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, 2 sacks. Like I said, I will say that until it happens. So
I feel like he's close on a lot of them.
He is. He gets so close. He does. He gets so close. But
we didn't talk about it, but this Ravens offensive line is pretty dang good.
Yeah, it is.
Ronnie Stanley, I don't think he's having the best year, but he's been
Ronnie
a really
Stanley.
good player.
Like a bad year for Ronnie Stanley is going to be better than a lot of tackles in the league.
Yep. Tyler Linderbaum was one of my top-rated rookies in the draft. I think he was a top 10 player for me. Really good center.
For me, too. Stud.
Yeah. Kevin Zeitler, who's a veteran. He's been around. Ben Powers, I think, is okay.
He's fine.
Yep. Which, you know what? Based on how the Bucs defensive line is played, that's all you need to be. You just need to be fine.
Yep.
Good enough is good enough when you're playing against the Bucs right now.
You're right. Okay, score predictions. Yeah.
I'm going to say this game is going to look closer on paper than what I think it will be for most of the night. I'm going to say Ravens 26, Bucs 23. I think Bucs will get a late touchdown to make it look closer. Okay. This will be Ravens all the way, but I don't know if I think it, but I want it. I need them to score.
I'm differing a lot. I have no faith until I see them actually do well. 30-10 Ravens.
I would rather it be 30-10 because then we could watch Byron Leftwich be shot out of a cannon into the sun on live TV.
Dude, I'm going to be so mad if it's midnight and I'm sitting there watching the Bucs get destroyed. And then I got to come home, go to sleep, wake up, and drive back to Gainesville the next day. I'm going to be like, what the heck?
Hey, you'll be there for press conferences, though. So
yeah, I will.
I don't care what happens. Ask Byron Leftwich how it feels to be fired.
I won't. But I don't know if he'll be interviewed. I think he's more of a practice guy because I feel like the podiums are Brady and Bowles. And then you get locker room access for the players.
Hunt him down in the locker room. Byron, you've just been fired. How do you feel?
I mean, if the offense sucks, I'll ask Bowles a question about the offense. Oh, yeah. I mean, I've already decided. It's gonna happen. Unless I just get bullied out of asking one, because the press room is really just like the person who persists and is the loudest with their question goes. So if last week I was able to, or not last week, the Falcons game, I was able to find a dead period and just get my question in there. But I'm not, it's Greg Alman, Jenna Lane, they're all, and I'm like, ooh.
Right. They're the stars.
Yeah. I'm like, okay.
They're respected countrywide.
Yeah.
Side note, Tampa Bay has such good coverage. Greg Alman is one of the best out there.
Yeah.
Jenna Lane is great. Pewter Report team is fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, their communications department is also tremendous. They do an awesome job hosting media for games. It's a great experience. So Bucs got some great media, that's for sure. No doubt about it. So
just a big shout out to everyone associated with the Bucs, except for the players and coaches.
Jeez, I'm not going to go that far.
Oh man, any final thoughts before I go drown my sorrows?
If you want coverage of the game, you can follow me at Twitter at NFL Ballard. I'll be live tweeting, maybe if it is not dying, if the game isn't terrible. But I'll be at least giving you coverage, giving you thoughts throughout the game, live from the press box at Raymond James Stadium tomorrow night or Thursday night, whenever you are listening to this, against the Ravens. I know JT will also probably be tweeting his thoughts out on Twitter. You can follow him at Icewater Olson. We appreciate you guys listening. Once again, we appreciate you guys conversing with us, even if it's on the recording. We love doing it. We hope y'all keep coming back. And as always, go Bucs.
Go Bucs. Go far away, Bucs.